sick, I pay. You retire, I pay. Your kids go to college, I pay. All the 4 products that we sell are still a requirement for every single client of ours. If that is the truth, then nothing has changed. With the pandemic coming, a lot of people thought people will go out of the way to buy insurance. I can promise you there is no queue outside my house where people are waiting to buy insurance. Insurance is still not a requirement for our clients. Insurance is still not something that our clients want. What does that mean? Nothing has changed. You still need to do your job. You still need to meet with your clients. You still need to tell them why they should buy insurance. So nothing has changed. As soon as you realize this small factor, it will increase your productivity. The fact that clients don't want to buy insurance, pandemic or no pandemic, the reality is insurance is not a priority for our clients. What does that mean? Your job and my job is still very secured. You and I still need to work, because the more we work, the more we will get. I've been asked this by a lot of my mentees, and I wanted to share this with each one of you guys. If your closing ratio is 100%, but your activity rate is 0, your productivity is 0. Think about it. You don't meet anyone. Your closing ratio is 100%. You're doing 0 business. So it has no meaning. If you even meet one guy and your closing ratio is 100%, it's only 1 sale. Did this pandemic reduce my closing ratio? Absolutely yes. My closing ratio has gone down by 50%. But I have increased my activity rate. My activity rate today has gone up by 3-folds. It's gone up by 300%. And the reason is, guys, think about it. You can't travel. You can't really meet with your friends. You can't go out. You can't party. What are you going to be spending your time doing? This is the once in a lifetime opportunity that you have to be productive. Because if you lose this opportunity, you will lose this ability to show that you stand out. The good advisors and the bad advisors will be measured today. Today will be the real measure of are you a good advisor or not? Because now you have to prove that you can still function irrespective of the challenges that are put in front of you. But if you think about it, what are the new challenges that we have? There are none, except the fact that I can't meet my clients. Think about this, right? Guys, I'm a very traditional financial advisor. I'm a face-to-face guy. I'm a guy who will sit with a client face-to-face and have a conversation with a pen and paper. When I have a face-to-face conversation with my clients, my closing ratio is 100%. But the problem now is I cannot meet anyone. Now, the reality is, even if I can meet anyone, Dubai, where I come from, guys, I'm from Dubai. Where I come from, there is no more lockdown, which means we can go to work, we can meet people, we can, we can actually see people. But the reality is, I don't want to. Because if I go out of the way, I go out and something happens, I catch the virus or I spread the virus. It's not fair. It's not fair for my family. It's not fair for my clients. It's not fair for society. So I've made a very difficult decision to stay at home and work from home. But when I'm working from home, the question is, does my productivity get affected? So the reality is, yes, my closing ratio has gone down. But what has increased is my activity ratio. So I've increased my activity because your activity will decide your productivity. I've been thinking about all the different things that have changed. I'm going to be very transparent with each one of you. When this whole lockdown started in Dubai, right, I truly thought it was maybe for 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, right? So I took a full week off. I took a holiday. I rested in bed. I relaxed. I watched television. And I was like, you know what? Let's do a 1 week holiday. And that's how it initially started. That, okay, I'm going to take a holiday. After a week, I kind of started feeling that we're going to be stuck in this for a long time to come. And I mentally prepared myself that for the next 8 to 10 months, I will not leave the house. As soon as I made that mental decision that I'm not going to leave the house for 8 to 10 months, my thought process and my mindset changed. And I was scared because I've never done this before, right? I've never been home so long. So the thought was, what do I do at home? You see, one of the biggest mentors in my life is my father. My father's been in the business for 37 years, very successful, top of the table member. And I asked my father, I was like, Dad, if I'm not leaving the house for so long, how am I going to sell? I don't like using PowerPoint, so you'll not see a single PowerPoint in this section because I don't like using PowerPoint. If I'm using a PowerPoint, it's like I'm saying one size fits all. Everyone needs the same advice, which is not true. Can you imagine you go to the doctor and the doctor starts with a PowerPoint? You're like, wait a second, why am I here? You can just email me the PowerPoint then. So I don't like to use PowerPoints. I like to have a face-to-face conversation. And that's what I'm doing with you. I'm having a real face-to-face conversation. So I sat down with my father and I said, Dad, what should I do? And he said, Sanjay, whenever you feel lost, whenever you feel something is wrong, go back to the basics. Restart. 90% of the world's problem can be solved with the switch on and switch off switch. You just switch it off and you switch it back on. 90% of the world's problem can be solved with that. Think about it. Every time your phone stops working, what do they tell you? Switch it off and switch it back on. Your computer stops working, what do they tell you? Switch it off, switch it back on. Guys, this is the first time in history you have had a switch on and switch off switch. You have been allowed to reset. You have been allowed to restart. Your company is supporting your restart. Your clients are going to support your restart. The economy is supporting your restart. Everyone is going to allow you to restart. But you need to have the right strategy in place to be able to restart. So I said, Dad, okay, so what do I do? And he's like, Sanjay, don't you remember 20 years ago when you joined this business? What is the first thing I told you to do? I was like, well, I don't really remember. I'm being honest, guys. You see, I told you today is going to be a session that's going to be 100% transparent with you. I am not a trainer. I'm not a professional speaker. I'm an insurance advisor just like you. And I'm going to give you everything that I have today for a very simple reason. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. And I don't want even one of you to miss this opportunity. So I said, Dad, I truly don't remember. He said, Sanjay, write down the name of 100 people you want to speak to. It starts with that. Go back to the basics. I was like, Dad, which 100? Right? Who should I call? And he's like, Sanjay, you see, when you started in this business and the 100 people you wrote down, those were 100 people that you knew. Today, I'm telling you to write down the name of the 100 people you actually care about, love, think about. Give them a call. And I said, okay, I'll give them a call. Great. But what do I say to them? And he's like, just tell them you're here for them. Sanjay, people are getting very lonely. People are getting scared. People are worried. They're scared about losing jobs. They're scared about losing their business. They're scared about if the virus would affect them. They don't know what will affect them. And they are scared. So why don't you just give them a call first? Give them a call. It will change the way they think about you. And I said, Dad, okay, I'll do that. But I mean, should I sell something to them? What should I do? And he's like, remember one thing. Sales is a process of giving good advice. So your step number one in the sales process is giving good advice. If you give good advice, it will automatically get converted into a sale. And I was like, okay, so what is good advice? He's like, Sanjay, remember this. environment doesn't allow you to be productive, that is where the problem starts. So create a small space in your house, a small environment that you can call your productivity space. I call this my office. And I've told my children, this is daddy's office. You come here, phone calls. I've gone back to the basics. I pick up the phone and I have the most beautiful conversation with my clients. We are laughing. We are not worried. You know what happened is every client, like I said, is scared today. It's our responsibility to give them peace of mind. That is the purpose of insurance. What is the purpose of insurance? Giving the peace of mind. Office space. I need one floor. Everyone is so productive from their house that they don't need to come to the office. As long as they can submit their work from home, it's fine. Their productivity is so high. And if they want to come to the office, well, we have some space and they can come. And I was like, wait a second, that's awesome. So that's going to reduce your cost a lot, right? And he said, yes, my costs are going to go down significantly. I was like, now, Mr. Klein, let me give you a little piece of advice. When your costs reduce so significantly, you've saved up on so much rent, right? Rent which you would have otherwise paid. Pay this to yourself. Keep it as funds for yourself as an emergency. This is the best time to reallocate savings to creating funds for the future. I've been listening this from clients, right? I realized something very, very important. Again, something that I want to share with you. Objections have not changed. The objections I used to get before are the same objections I'm getting today from my clients. Think about it. The objections which I got in 2008 were, Sanjay, I'm losing my job. Sanjay, I'm scared my business will go bankrupt. I don't know how long my savings will last. Sanjay, I don't have money. These were the same objections we got in 2008, 2009. The objections have not changed. Isn't that fascinating? So the products have not changed. Advisory process has not changed. I would still give you the same advice that I gave you before. Objections have not changed. So why is everyone talking about this new normal and so many changes when there is actually no change in the insurance business. People are still going to die. That hasn't changed. And that just makes you think, do we really have a lot of things to change? I realized there was only one major change that I've done to my business, and that is, instead of meeting face to face, I'm now doing deals on the phone. Guys, let me give you some more good news. Number one, I'm back on track. The target that I set for myself, I'm actually exceeding my target for a very simple reason, that I have got nothing else to do except work. I have nothing else to do. I have no other excuse to not be productive. You see, I cannot blame my travels. I cannot blame that I've got to meet too many people. I cannot blame any of that. I can't blame traffic. You see, there is nothing you can blame now for lack of productivity except your own willingness to work or not. So, what's your excuse for yourself? Guys, remember one thing. We all find excuses to not be productive, including me. I'm not saying I'm a saint. I'm just telling you, we have run out of excuses to not be productive. If you're going to keep blaming the fact that you can't meet people as a reason for drop in productivity, you're losing an opportunity of once in a lifetime. This is not an opportunity that you want to lose. Your clients are restarting. Are you restarting? That's a decision you have to make. The other thing that you have to realize is, people still need to know why they need to buy insurance. So your presentation has not changed. The only difference is, before, when I did a presentation with a client, I would use a paper and a pen to explain a concept. Now, instead of using a pen and paper, I'm using my words, or I'm using my hand gestures in a video conference, because I don't have a pen and paper to use. So I would use my hand gestures to explain a concept. I'll give you a simple concept. This concept has worked very well over the last 3 months. So I called up a client of mine. So I'm giving you the whole conversation, right? So guys, the purpose of doing this is to give you the entire conversation. So the conversation that I have with my client starts with, "Hi, how are you?" Usually the answer is, "Things are getting a little tough," or, you know, the virus, blah. I'm like, I'm so sick and tired of talking about the virus, because everyone's just talking about it. But I realized there's something even more important than that. And he's like, "What?" I was like, "Do you realize all of us have been forced to retire? Think about it. We all have been forced to retire. It's like as if we are 85 years old. We cannot leave the house. We cannot travel. We cannot eat whatever we like. We can only eat whatever is available to us. We can't meet our friends. Our hobby is restricted to our house. All the assets we have, that's pretty much what we have. Whatever income we have, that's pretty much what we have. We've been forced to retire. How comfortable do you feel? Think about it. We all have been forced to retire. How comfortable do you feel?" And this is the conversation that I'm having with my clients. Guys, if you're in your 20s or 30s, right, this is a wake-up call. If you're in your 40s and 50s, guys, this is a reality check. This will tell you how prepared you are to retire. What is the income that you thought will support you through retirement? What are the investments that you thought will work in your retirement? This is the most important time for you to relook at your investments and restructure your retirement plan. If you haven't done it, guys, you are losing this opportunity to check how well prepared you are for your retirement. Think about it. This presentation has allowed me to do so much work, because my clients are now restructuring their property investments. Because you see, properties have stopped working. A lot of tenants have left. It's getting difficult to rent out properties. Rental yield have dropped. There's so many things that have gone wrong with that property. You can't see it anymore. So before, the concept was, at least I can see it. Well, now you can't. You can't even leave your house. People needed this reality check. And that's what we have had, a real reality check. Guys, 2020 is going to be a record year for all those who believe in the year. Don't lose faith in 2020 at all. There is so much that you can do today. I was just having a conversation. So the forced retirement presentation has worked fantastic with my clients, right? The other presentation that's really worked very well is what I call the tree and root presentation. Now, Mr. Client, I was thinking about this and I was just looking at my garden and I realized we have such tall trees, but the strength of that tree is actually in the roots. If the roots are strong, the tree is strong. If I cut the tree, but I don't cut the roots, the tree will grow back. And that's when I realized something about finance. The tree are our assets, but it is the income that is holding the value of these assets. If I lose the assets, but my income is still there, the assets will grow back. Everyone is focusing on assets when they actually forget about income. And they're like, but Sanjay, isn't financial theory asset accumulation, asset preservation, asset distribution? I mean, that's financial theory, right? That you accumulate assets, preserve assets, and then you distribute assets. And I was like, we've got financial theory wrong. Think about it, guys. We all suffer from something called AIDS, which is acquired income deficiency syndrome. All of us feel that our income is not enough. Financial theory needs to change to income accumulation, income preservation, making sure you don't lose your income, and income distribution. Think about it. What do you want to give your children? Assets or income? Think about it. Would you prefer giving them a $10 million house or give them $500,000 every year for the rest of their life? What would you prefer? I want you to think about this. Would you rather give your children $10 million now, one time, or give them $500,000 every year for the rest of their life? What would you prefer? 90% of the people have always told me, Sanjay, I would rather give my children $500,000 every year for the rest of their life. So we actually want to be focusing on income, not assets. Think about it. You want more and more income. So that's income accumulation. You want to make sure you don't lose your income. By the way, there is only one product in the world that protects income, and that is insurance. Guys, we are the only industry in the world that is focusing on income protection. Think about it. Every other industry in the world is talking about asset accumulation, asset preservation, asset distribution. That's what they do. We are the only business in the world that is doing income accumulation, income preservation, and income distribution. For example, how much life insurance should you buy? The rule of thumb, 10 times of annual income. So when you die, I'm going to give 10 years of income to your family. What did we talk about? We're giving income to your family. You see, we are not focusing on asset distribution, but we're focusing on income distribution. And the day you realize this, your presentation will change. Your presentation will be so much more powerful because now you have no one to compete with. There is no business in the world that protects income like insurance. No business in the world. There is no product in the world that does what insurance does. And the day you realize this, you will get back to work. Guys, 2020 is going to be a record year for me. The question is, what are you doing through 2020? Do something very simple. Go back to the basics. Pick up the phone. Write down the name of the 100 people that you need to speak to. Start with the basics. Go back to the basics. Telling your clients, what is the purpose of insurance? They have forgotten the purpose. People are scared. Give them a call. Objections have not changed. The most common objection that I've been getting through this pandemic is, Sanjay, I'm worried that my income will stop. Well, Mr. Client, we have had this fear forever. This is not a new fear. We never know when our income will stop, right? Let me give you a very simple example. When you leave the house, how do you know that all the traffic lights will be green? So, if you're leaving the house and you're going to your office, or you're leaving the house and you're going somewhere, and you say, I will only leave the house when all the traffic lights are green, you will probably never leave the house. You see, our job is to leave the house. If we come to a red traffic light, we will make a decision. Should I turn? Should I stop? Or we will make some judgment on what we should do. You cannot say, I will only leave the house when all the traffic lights are green. Mr. Client, when you are on your financial journey, your job is to start the journey. If things stop, we come to a red light, things slow down, something goes wrong, we will figure it out at that point of time. Your family needs to be protected. It doesn't matter whether you feel secure today or not, but your family needs to feel secured. You see, I have no doubt in your capability. I have no doubt that you cannot fix things. My problem is, if you are not there, the people you leave behind might not have the same capability. So think about them. When you're talking about insurance, it's not about you, it's about protecting your family. I'm not protecting you, I'm protecting your family. Get that clear. Make it relevant to them. Please understand, people don't understand the value of insurance. Because if they did, you would have a queue outside your house, people wanting to buy insurance. But that's not happened. You see, this pandemic has proved that even when people are scared of dying, people are scared of falling sick, they are still not wanting to buy insurance. Isn't that fascinating? Guys, get back to work. Don't waste your time. Go back to the basics. Make 2020 your best year ever.